Without one German product, modern civilization would collapse. Over the last decade, journalists have cited Germany's Energiewende, or renewable energy transitions, as an environmental model for the rest of the world. Thanks to the Energiewende, many poor countries once intent on building coal-fired power plants to bring electricity to their people are discussing whether they might leapfrog the fossil age and build clean grids from the start, wrote a New York Times reporter in 2014. With Germany as the model, the United Nations and World Bank invested billions of dollars in renewables such as wind, solar, and hydro in developing countries such as Kenya. However, Germany was forced to admit last year that it would have to postpone its coal phase-out and would not meet its 2020 greenhouse gas reductions commitments. It announced plans to bulldoze an ancient church and a forest to access the coal beneath it. Now comes a major article titled "A Botch Job in Germany" in the country's largest news weekly magazine, Der Spiegel. The magazine's cover depicts broken wind turbines and unfinished electrical transmission towers against a dark silhouette of Berlin. The Energiewende has cost Germany €32 billion in annual costs over the last 5 years, and rural oppositions to renewables is growing. According to Der Spiegel, politicians fear citizen resistance. There isn't a single wind energy project that isn't opposed. In response, politicians occasionally direct that electrical lines be buried underground, but this is many times more expensive and takes years longer. As a result, the development of renewable energy and associated transmission lines is slowing significantly. For example, in 2018, less than half as many wind turbines were installed 2017, and only 30 kilometers of new transmissions were added. Solar and wind advocates argue that cheaper solar panels and wind turbines will make future renewable growth cheaper than past growth, but there are reasons to believe the opposite. Between 2000 and 2019, Germany increased renewable energy from 7% to 35% of total electricity generation. And just as much of Germany's renewable electricity comes from biomass, which scientists believe is polluting and degrading to the environment, as from solar. Only 8% of the 7,700 new transmission lines required have been constructed. While large-scale electricity storage needs to be more efficient and costly, a large portion of the energy used is lost. The reporters write about a much-touted hydrogen gas project, and the efficiency is less than 40%. There is no way to create a viable business model from this. The question of technology. Martin Heidegger, widely regarded as the 20th century most influential philosopher, made the first and most sophisticated case for renewables. Heidegger criticized the view of nature as a mere resource for human consumptions in his 1954 essay, The Questioning Concerning Technology. He wrote that the use of modern technology places an unreasonable demand on nature to supply energy that can be extracted and stored as such. The Earth is now set upon to yield ore, or to yield uranium, to yield atomic energy. Heidegger proposed tying human society and its economy to unreliable energy flows as a solution. He even criticized hydroelectric dams for dominating the natural environment while praising windmills for not unlocking energy to store it. Renewable energy advocates in the United States adopted Heidegger's ideas. For example, in 1969, Barry Commoner argued that a shift to renewable energy was required to bring modern civilizations into harmony with the ecosphere. In his 1962 book, Our Synthetic Environment, Murray Bookchin argued that the renewables' goal was to return modern industrial societies to agrarian ones. However, around 2000, renewables began to gain a high-tech luster. As a result, governments and private investors invested $2 trillion in solar, wind, and related infrastructure, giving the impression that renewables were profitable even without subsidies. Journalists reported with bated breath on battery cost declines, imagining a tipping point at which traditional electricity utilities would be disrupted. However, no marketing could overcome the poor physics of resource and land-intensive renewables. The new wind farm in Kenya, inspired and funded by Germany and other well-meaning Western nations, is situated on a major migratory bird flight path. According to scientists, it will kill hundreds of endangered eagles. In response, the wind farm's developers have done what Europeans have long done in Africa. They have hired organizations representing the doomed eagles and communities to collaborate rather than oppose the project. Kenya's wind farm will not allow it to leapfrog fossil fuels. On the contrary, that unreliable wind energy will likely raise electricity prices and slow Kenya's ascent out of poverty. Like much of the conservation movement, Heidegger would despise the Energiewende for what it has become: an excuse to destroy natural landscapes and local communities. Oppositions to renewable stems from the rural peoples Heidegger admired as more authentic and grounded than urbane cosmopolitan elites who fetishize their solar roofs and Teslas as signs of virtue. Germans are very fond of the Energiewende, which will have cost $580 billion in renewables and related infrastructure by 2025. It's our gift to the world, a proponent of renewable energy told the New York Times. Unfortunately, many Germans appear to have believed the billions spent on renewables would be repaid. Germans would finally feel that they had progressed from being world destroyers in the 20th century to world saviors in the 21st, a reporter observed. Many Germans, including Der Spiegel, will claim that the renewables transitions was merely bungled, but it was not. Instead, the transitions to renewables was doomed because modern industrial people, however romantic they may be, did not want to return to pre-modern life. Renewables cannot power modern civilizations because they were never intended to. One intriguing question is why anyone ever believed they could. Let us know your views in the comments below and subscribe for more.